Hey guys, it's MandaPanda and I'm back with another custom My Little Pony tutorial, and this is the Nightmare Before Christmas Sally inspired pony. Applejack's going to be transformed into Sally, starting off by removing her cutie mark and eyes with some acetone. And next, I'm going to pop off her head since she will be getting brand new hair. You just grab it, twist it to the side, and it'll pop right out. We need to remove the hair, and to do that you have to remove the neck plug. Sometimes, depending on how much glue was used when they put the pony together, you can just pull this little ring out, but this one is not budging at all. It is really glued in there. So I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and make a series of tiny cuts all around this neck ring, and be careful not to cut yourself there, and then you can pull that plug right out. You can see inside the head where all of the glue is anchoring the hair in. I'm going to take some big scissors and I'm going to cut off as much of her hair as I possibly can. Then I'm going to switch over to some teeny tiny scissors and cut the hair even shorter all the way down to the scalp, and that step makes removing the hair a lot easier. Using some pliers or tweezers, just reach inside the head and pull out the clumps of hair and glue until she's completely bald and ready to be customized. Next, I'm going to work on the body. I've cut out the neck plug there using the same process as earlier. I'm going to cut off her tail with some scissors. I'm going to use my pliers, reach into the body and pull out the remaining hair, and I'm going to toss that since I don't need it anymore. There's also this little metal washer inside the G4 ponies. You do need to remove that. Starting off with the customization, I'm using Sally Hansen nail polish in Blue Away. It is a really good match to Sally's blue skin tone. I'm going to completely cover this head with this nail polish. This is great coverage on the first coat, but I'm going to go ahead and put in a second coat just to make everything nice and even. And here it is. The nail polish has completely dried. I'm going to start on her eyes using some white acrylic paint and a very fine paintbrush. I'm going to draw out an eye that's about 3/4 of the regular height, because I'm gonna give her an eyelid at the top and make it look like she has eyeshadow, because that's kind of what Sally looks like, the character itself. So I've mixed together a shade of teal and gray to make this color that is just a couple of shades darker than the skin tone, and I'm giving her the eyelid, and I'm also outlining the eye with that same color. Her eyes are very simple. It's just one black dot and that's it. So I'm using some black acrylic paint and my dotting tool to put the eyes in, and those were super simple. It's time to work on Sally's stitches that she has on her face. I'm going to be making them 3D and textured using Sugru, which is air dry rubber, and I'm choosing Sugru over air dry clay because air dry clay does shrink when it dries, and if I roll it out this thin, I think it would be too brittle and it would break off. So before I put in the stitches, I'm going to put in her scars first. So Sally has a huge scar running on both sides of her mouth, very similar to the Joker. And I'm using the same shade I used for the eyes, which is just a smidge darker than the skin. So you can see that that really looks like the scar. Now I'm going to go in with those little tiny pieces of Sugru that I've rolled out, and I'm going to place them over the scar and make them look just like stitches. Sugru is a great medium to use for something like this because it automatically sticks itself to whatever surface you've placed it on. So as soon as the Sugru dries, it's going to be stuck to her face. I'm not going to have to go in and glue them on or anything like that. Now I have drawn on the scar Sally has going from the top of her head across her eye, and I've put those stitches in as well. This looks so awesome. I'm going to pop in her eyelashes. They are just 4 V shapes. Very simple to put in, and I'm using black acrylic paint for this. Then I'm going to switch over to some bright red acrylic paint and draw in Sally's mouth. So Sally does have a bright red mouth on her, and I'm going to put one on the pony here. I'm gonna let the sugru set for a couple of hours and then paint over them with a very light shade of blue so the stitches blend in with Sally's skin. And once all of this acrylic paint has dried, I'm gonna set all my work with a clear nail polish top coat so nothing gets scratched off. Once the top coat has dried, it's time for hair. I chose this gorgeous shade of vibrant red called Cherry Pie from dollyhair.com, and I'm gonna use this to reroot Sally. I'm using my rerooting tool, which is basically a pronged needle. You can see that there. I like to wrap some strands of hair over my finger and then pick them up just like this, and they'll get stuck at the top of the needle. Since it is sharp, you just pick up the head, decide what hole you want that plug to go into, and press it right in. And just like that, the first hair plug is in. You can see inside where the hair has anchored itself inside of the head. And you're just going to repeat this process over and over again until all of the hair is back in. All the paint colors and supplies used for this custom are listed down in the description box below in case you want to recreate this entire pony. Once you get all of the hair plugs in and Sally has her new head of hair, you're going to need to secure the hair or it will come out. I suggest using no-sew glue. I like to pour it directly inside of the head and use a Q-tip to evenly distribute the glue inside. I'm gonna put that to the side, let the glue dry, and start working on her body. Using that same Sally Hansen nail polish in Blue Away, I'm going to paint the legs and chest of the body. I'm not too worried about the actual body area because that's where I'm going to be painting on her dress. Sally's dress is patchwork. There's different prints to her dress. I'm gonna use a Sharpie marker to draw out a rough sketch outline of all the different patchwork areas. This is gonna make it a lot easier to fill everything in. All the patches are mapped out here. I got green areas, orange areas, a stripe area, a dot patch, hatch marks, swirls, and a just solid black patch there. And I'm gonna get started filling in all of those patches. I'm starting off with the orange shade. All of the sections with orange are going to get painted with 3 layers of acrylic paint. Since the color is light, it does need several layers to get really good coverage. The front patch is solid orange. I'm not going to do anything to it, but the back leg patch does have spots all over it, so I'm using my dotting tool to quickly place all of those dots in. For the linear work, I'm going to be using this black nail art polish because it has a very fine paintbrush. This back patch here is hatch mark, so using that very fine brush, I'm going to draw in all of these diagonal lines. For this front patch, I'm going to draw in thick black lines and then go in with a fine paintbrush and draw in a thin stripe right in the middle of the black line to give it the look of very, very fine lines, just like Sally has on her dress. Next, I'm gonna work on the pink patches. I have a hot pink nail polish here, and I'm gonna go in and paint those patches with 2 coats of nail polish. Using a fine paintbrush and some black acrylic paint, I'm just gonna freehand some little swirls all throughout this front patch. For the back patch, I'm gonna draw in very thick striped lines. Now it's time for the green patch, which is her other arm. And I just created this color using a green and a blue acrylic paint. And this is going to get 3 coats of paint. The final patch of Sally's dress is going to be solid black, so I'm just going to fill this in with acrylic paint and a thin paint brush. Let's take a look at all of these patches. This dress really came together. It looks so cool. Now I'm going to use this same fine paintbrush and I'm going to outline each and every patch with black acrylic paint because I really want to make it look like a patchwork dress. Now that everything's outlined, I'm going to take a super fine brush and draw in little tiny stitches throughout all of the seams to really make it seem like this dress has been stitched together. And you can see that I have used that same darker blue color and drawn in all of the scars on Sally's neck and legs. Now I'm going to go in with some more sugru and give Sally all of the stitches that she has on her actual body. And I love that these stitches are 3D. I'm gonna let all this sugru set for about 2-3 hours and then I'm gonna paint them light blue, and that's the last step for the body. Now I'm going to give it a clear coat to seal all of my work in, and once it's completely dried, it's time for her new tail. I have a little bit of red hair here. It's 1/4 the length of the full strand, which is 36 inches. I've used a twist tie to twist tie it together and push it through the tail hole in the pony. Using my pliers, I'm gonna pull that hair about halfway out. You don't wanna pull it all the way out or you're gonna have to redo that step. Next, remove the twist tie and replace it with a zip tie, and make sure that you secure that zip tie as tightly as you possibly can, because you don't want any of that hair to get loose. Cut off the extra at the top and you can pull that tail through And just like that, Sally has her new red tail. The last step is going to be connecting the head and the body back together, and I'm going to do that using some Gorilla Glue. And let's check out the completed pony. Here is Sally. I have kept her hair stick straight just like Sally's hair is in the cartoon, and I have also trimmed the tail a little bit shorter, and you notice that I've added some Sugru stitches around Sally's neck. I think this custom came out fantastic. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And if you have an idea for my next custom pony, I would love to hear your suggestions, so leave them down below. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, little pandas. Until next time, bye. You can find me online. For the latest news and updates for the channel, you can follow me on Instagram, MandaPanda Toy Collector, like my Facebook page, facebook.com/MandaPanda Toy Collector, or you can add me on Snapchat,